Okay guys, so we've done a pre-soak, right? So if you've watched to this point, you can kind of see how it's helped us. It hasn't left a perfect surface. We still need some agitation. We still need some things to do here. We got to get in the nooks and crannies, but it's knocked down the most it can knock down, and now it's made my life a little easier. We want to go in with Fuego, and we want to start to decontaminate these wheels, right? And one of the things that I like Fuego, especially this has been driven, enjoyed, exactly like it's supposed to be for a utility type vehicle. You know, again, could be a truck, could be anything, could be a large SUV that you took camping. We need this to start breaking down any kind of contamination in these wheels. And one of the things that we get a question is, hey, do I have to iron decon every time? No, you don't have to iron decon every time, but as soon as your vehicle has gotten some miles on it, especially if you drive something, you know, from the European brands, Chevy Tahoes are notorious, Escalades are notorious. When it's been neglected, and neglected is, you know, it's gone 4, 5, 6 weeks without being cleaned up, right? I know there's people out there that haven't cleaned their car up in 6 months. Iron being contaminated in your wheels or your paint, it starts to wear away the finish. Okay, so in this instance, we have no problem spraying a little bit of Fuego. We're not even going to use very much on this car because these wheels, you know, aren't overly big or anything like that. So, you know, at the end of the day, this is just a nice step after we've done the pre-rinse around the vehicle. And so we're actually going to take, we've shown this before, we don't always use this method, but one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to take TRX and a foam cannon. And TRX and a foam cannon gives me a couple things. I know I got big fender wells to get inside. I know that I got bigger tires, so this just gives me a little bit ease of working and you know, gives me a little bit more time, and I don't have to sit here with a trigger or anything like that. You could use a pump sprayer, you know, foamer, whatever you want, but I think the foam cannon is the right fit here, and so we're going to go ahead and spray this. Got myself pretty well and foamed up as well as the wheel. That's all right. I think Marty set the pressure washer a little high so I would get dirty since he's the dirtier detailer. Now, one thing to notice about these wheels, if it's not catching it on camera, there's a lip behind the spoke, okay? So if you want these to really look good when you're done, you're gonna have to kind of go in behind there with the brush and be a little bit more cognizant because it just has this tiny little lip. And you'll notice it'll kind of, Marty, it'll kind of leave a shadow, right? And you'll be like, why do my wheels look good? Well, there's this little lip behind the spoke that if you miss it, it's going to kind of leave, not going to look perfectly detailed and like you spent a bunch of time. So normally we go just left, right, and center, but this time I'm kind of going back a little bit of a tighter angle, and you can kind of see on camera that it's dislodging some dirt there. And you know, you just got to kind of pay attention to what type of wheel you have. And it's not a big deal. You know, so you guys can see probably my brush is getting all the way back there. You know, the other thing I see is a lot of people short arm this. You know, the wheel goes back kind of far. I mean, it's not super deep wheel, but get it where you go beyond that point, and you'll be good to go. You want to touch these wheels up as little as possible at the end of your detail. So this is kind of where you kind of do all the dirty work, so to speak. And you should be in a good spot when you finish here. And you see, we have this kind of bent to be a little bit more ergonomical. You can leave it straight. What I would say is don't overly bend it a bunch of times because this metal is going to break off. So find an angle that works for you and kind of leave it there. Let's see. Now we have a situation where, again, we have this lip. So this brush may get the bulk of everything, okay? But it's gonna be tough to get into these tight little angles everywhere, right? So there's gonna have to be a tiny little step at the end. This brush is perfect for knocking down big areas, and there's no doubt about it. But we have some things on this particular wheel, and again, you may not have it on every wheel, where it's gonna be nice to go in with a smaller brush. And this is kind of what I'm talking about. There's a little edge back here that every single one of these, it's kind of the entry point. It's kind of a fake three-piece wheel, so to speak. It's just forged a little different. And so, okay. So just take your time. And that's the beauty of foaming over all this, is I get a ton of work time. All right. Now everybody's favorite part. It's probably the least fun thing I do on a wheel. And you can see, even though we did a pre-soak, imagine if we wouldn't have done that pre-spray with TRX going around the car. We're just battling more dirt. You know, nothing's perfect, but this gives us the best chance to kind of get the finish that we want, right? So we're using things to our advantage. And honestly, this brush, if I had this kind of vehicle, I'd get a much bigger brush. You know, what are those old green brushes, Marty? You know, those flag tip brushes. I'd probably be more inclined to have that here, because this brush is a little too small, but that's okay. You know, one of the things the internet makes guys believe is that you have to get a certain tool, and tools help. There's no question about that. But you can see with very few tools, even this, we'd want a longer handle, right? We'd want that. But I can make it work. You know, you don't have to always go buy the exact tool that makes everything the perfect and easy. You know, just kind of make it happen. You can still see. But if I owned this vehicle, I would have longer brushes. And I'd have stiffer bristled brushes, you know, bigger surface area. So let's go ahead and rinse this off. All right, so you can see that we've done a pretty good job here. Now here's something interesting. If you're working on a customer's car, you see this for yourself, one of the things we have is we have kind of inconsistent undercoating, okay? You kind of see that we have, you know, some blue spots, but we have some spots that are starting to wear. That's something to bring up to the customer. If you see that yourself, you can absolutely do this at home. You can go just get the exact undercoating that Toyota uses, mask off the area, respray it, it'll look great. To me, I'd want it to be pure black, right? So if you do see that and you have it, or you have a truck, it's very easy to do. You just got to buy some masking paper, kind of mask off your paint to a certain level, mask off your plastics, and shoot it again. Okay, we see some inconsistencies on this one. This one's not bad. You know, it's not going to be, you know, rusting tomorrow, but this is a utility vehicle. Go ahead and respray that. I promise everybody watching can do it. So thought we'd bring you in tight here, show you what a pre-rinse just making our life easier. It's one of those things that I want everybody to kind of see, is that this is super easy to do if you use the chemical to your advantage. And we're gonna go ahead and get the other 3 cleaned up, and we'll bring you back and start working on this paint.